Hello, my name is Spiky and today I want to talk about this new game, Hardship Ship Breaker. So in this game, what you need to do is you break up ships. So you select what ship you want to break up, and you break it into its various pieces, and then throw them into the certain areas that they need to be in. So the start off with this game is pretty good. It's quite a new feat, like a new feel to like something that wouldn't expect, and it uses physics quite a lot, which is great as well. I love playing around with games with physics and stuff. So as you can see here, I'm just flying around and trying to find the points that you can melt on these parts of the ship, and then use a tether to move it to the barge. Now I would try and move that manually, but it's too heavy. You can also go inside the ship as well, and it has an airlock and everything. So you go in, you do an airlock, you go in the airlock, you pressurize as well.
Airlock pressure levels increasing.
So when you go inside, you can see there's an atmosphere. You can see my oxygen's going up, but I've got an upgrade that allows my oxygen to refill when I go into an atmosphere. You have to, in order to do anything on the ship as well, you also have to make sure that you vent the atmosphere, otherwise you could have a blowout and it could kill you. So it's got quite a lot of realism physics and stuff, and there's also these little funny little video things as well, or voice things.
Job salvager. That's a great way to lose a limb or life. Due to finding legal agreements made with the Orbital Safe Workers Union, Lynx cannot encourage the use of illegal narcotics. However, research has shown that when used in moderation, recreational stimulants and microdoses of hallucinogenics can provide salvagers with significant gains in both performance and yield. Furthermore, the Lynx Board of Directors recently voted unanimously to eliminate any and all drug tests for salvage division employees, because we at Lynx believe the privacy of our employees is paramount. Lynx. Making the world a better place.
So they've added some sort of like audio things to make the game sound a little bit more interesting. I think it kind of gives a little bit of the story to the game as well, which it doesn't particularly have one just yet, or I've not actually met a story mode yet. I mean, when you start off in the game, it's called Career, but that's about it. So as you can see here, I'm actually trying to pull panels out with this grappler gun. It's quite difficult to use sometimes, where I'm finding like I'm trying to pull things out and stuff, but if it's really heavy, you've got to be really patient with it. And you can hook up multiple tethers to different parts of ships too. So like you can see here, I've managed to tether one part to another part to pull the other part into the processor. Didn't work in this case, so the tethers seem to be a little bit buggy, but that's because they kind of overlap into the sort of the thing. You also use the tether gun to detach things from the ship, and then you can launch them into what's known as the barge underneath. Now the barge is used for reusing things. So for example, all these seats and stuff that I'm taking out of the ship can be reused in other ships, so it's kind of recycling as well. Anything that when you look at a certain item, you can see that just above where my oxygen is located, it tells you what that item is for. So this is barge, so I have to fire it at the barge, and then you've got the door, which is processor, so you have to fire it into the processor, and vice versa as well, the furnace, if you've got some items in there that need to be thrown into the furnace and what have you. So the ship's got some like sort of joints that can be melted to allow you to detach certain things from the ship, and this is what keeps the ship together. And then you basically got to melt them out to get these parts to detach from the ship itself, and then you'd be able to throw them as separate parts. There is also a feature as well with the laser beam where you can actually cut things. Now this is where a dangerous part comes into play. This is a reactor. The reactor is recyclable, but if you detach it from the ship and leave it there, it'll explode, and it'll cause a lot of problems, because when it explodes, the whole entire ship becomes detached. There's loads of bits and stuff like that. It makes it more harder for you to actually take the ship apart. So there's that element as well. Also, if you hit certain objects with the laser beam, you can also overheat them. That's why that panel was turning orange for, because a bit of the laser beam was actually touching the panel, so it was overheating it. These are dangerous as well. These are like junction boxes. If you try to tether them off, they generally tend to have an electrical field that breaks off, and then it tries to, well, you know, electrocute you. But you can get upgrades that can make your suit electrical, what do you call it, resistant. So those two will go to the processor, that one goes to the furnace and gets melted down.
Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited.
Alright, so there's also like little objects as well in the game you can pick up as well from the ships, like oxygen and stuff, so it saves you from having to go to your panel. Now this view is quite interesting. This allows you to see through the ship and where various items are. You can upgrade this as well to make it better to see things. But this gives you an insight as to where melt points are, what's behind the walls and stuff, so to make sure that you don't accidentally hit them and cause problems. Now this is where you do the laser cutter, where you can actually cut through the wall. This is where the real clever physics comes into play. So as you can see there, melted a line, melted another line, and I can swap it over to go the other way, basically cutting out that whole entire panel. And then I can actually move that panel as well once it's cut, and you can cut the panels anywhere you want. It doesn't make a difference. You don't have to select or predetermined areas. It actually takes into consideration where you are cutting with this with the laser. So I'm firing that into the furnace. And then when I go down into here, you'll see there's a couple more cut points there. There's a light, that's electrical, and you just go to the barge. The idea is you're supposed to try and salvage as much as you can off the ship to get more money to pay off a debt. Apparently you're $1 billion in debt or something, which is quite strange. Alright, this is a power cell. Now these things are quite dangerous, that's why I've gone back a bit. And when they generally get detached, they like to electrocute things as well, just like the junction box, and you got to be careful with them. Fire with the barge.
Salvage secured.
And there's also another thing right in front of it, that part as well, which is a it's like a cryogenic cooler, or just basically it's a module that's got cooling things on it. If you hit that, it will freeze everything around you too as well, which makes things a bit harder. Freezes your view, makes it harder to see. So it's quite a good game. It's got a lot of challenging things, and you got to put a lot of thought into how you want to dismantle the ship. Now there's something pretty much dangerous, which is a fuel tank. You got to be very careful of them, because if you hit them with a laser once, that's it. It blows up in your face, and next thing you know, you're blasted out into somewhere.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
So I'm just getting all the points here. So all the melting points. I was just having a look at that and see what that was. This is where you get the cryo thing and detach it. It's important to make sure these things don't get damaged or anything as well, because obviously they lose value if they are damaged, but they can also explode on you as well, depending on what they are, so you have to be very careful. Very delicate job to get it through that little gap there, but you know, there's probably easier ways to do it. I mean, I'm just doing a kind of a rush job here. As you can see, I've now done the melt points. The whole entire ship's sides are now coming off. These are all the nano panels.
Alright, Cutter, you got 5 minutes left of this shift before they turn the lights out on you.
So I've completed the work order, but you can actually still work on the ships to earn more money. So the more stuff that you salvage off the ship, the more money you earn, and the better it is for you to pay off your debt.
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited.
It's a very strange little bit of a story of this game. Basically, you're set off to get a job, which is this, in space, detaching ships. But it costs $1 billion to get you in space in the first place. So, in order for you to work there, you have to work off your debt that got you up there in the first place, which is a bit of a strange one, because I mean, well, you do get looked after and stuff, and obviously you probably get fed by the company, but, well, at least I hope that is the case.
Credits deposited.
I love that view of the Earth as well. Very good skybox. So we're just going to get some more electricals off the ship here, put in the barge.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
So anyways, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon and keep watching out for more videos. Thank you very much for watching. Stay cool.